Thank you, Senator Coons. Senator Shaheen.
Congratulations to each of you on your nominations, and I look forward to working with you if confirmed. Mr. Riley, I want to begin with you because as Russia's continued its unprovoked war in Ukraine, one of the pieces of collateral damage, sadly, has been that global food prices have continued to rise rapidly. It's had a huge impact, not just in the Middle East or in Eastern Europe, but also in Africa. I understand that Somalia has received more than 80,000 tons of wheat from Ukraine last year, and it's experiencing record high food prices. So how can we, and one of the other challenges is that many of people in Africa and other countries that are affected are blaming the United States rather than blaming Russia, who should appropriately be blamed for what's happened. So how can we improve our public diplomacy to communicate with folks about what's really causing the high food prices and the impact on them?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. I think it's an extremely important one in relation, especially to Somalia. The United States remains the single largest humanitarian donor to Somalia. We've given $890 million in each of the last 2 fiscal years. We're up to $1.7 billion in the totality of the humanitarian assistance that we've given to Somalia. And this is because of the situation on the ground. There is a desperate situation in Somalia with 5 recurrent rainy seasons that have failed. There's been the longest drought in history. Somalia's population is 17 million people. According to the statistics I have from all of our aid workers who are there, 8.25 million of those are classified in need of humanitarian assistance. That's about half the population.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm almost out of time.
Yes,
and the question that I'm really asking, though, I appreciate the dire need that they have for food because of what's happening. But the question that I have is, how do we better communicate to people in the region about what's responsible for that?
Yeah. I'll be very succinct. We have to do a lot better. I've worked in a lot of countries where we've given tremendous amounts of aid, but we do not do a good job in our public diplomacy and getting that word out. You have my commitment. If I'm confirmed as ambassador, we'll leverage every platform, every vehicle that we have to get the word out to the Somali people that it's the United States of America and our taxpayers who are funding this tremendous amount of aid to the people of Somalia.
Thank you very much. Mr. White, I think what's happening with the Peace Corps is very encouraging. New Hampshire is one of the top 10 states in terms of providing Peace Corps volunteers. We're very proud of that. But how will you ensure that the Peace Corps is fully implementing the recommendations from the Sexual Assault Advisory Council, including working with local staff and communities on sexual assault prevention?
Thank you, Senator, for the question, and thanks also for your support of the Peace Corps and getting to the top 10. I would tell you, first of all, safety and security is the highest priority. That includes prevention of sexual assault and sexual harassment. We must strive to zero incidents. Unfortunately, we know we live in a dangerous world. That's true here at home, and it's true abroad as well. So when the worst does happen, we need to ensure that the response is victim-centered, treats victims with dignity and respect, the full suite of reporting options, the resources they need to move beyond that, and of course then pivot again towards safety and security. This is also a recruiting matter, and it's also an equity matter. It's a recruiting matter because people need to know that they're safe and secure and that we're going to take good care of them. And secondly, as it relates to equity, this is something that tends to affect, one particular set of the population, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of all people equally. So you have my commitment, if confirmed, to work on this as one of my highest priorities, Senator.
Well, thank you. We'll be watching. And if we can be helpful, please let us know. Ambassador Mustafa Garg, can you explain in the 20 seconds that I have left why Egypt is unwilling to open the Rafah crossing?
My understanding is that Egypt does want the crossing
Let me
open.
rephrase that, why they have been so reluctant to open the crossing to date, and why there is no commitment, notwithstanding the president's statement, that there will be ongoing humanitarian aid that will come through the Rafah crossing.
I think there is now a commitment.
For ongoing aid, I've
Ongoing.
heard that they're going to allow 20 trucks in.
As the first
But I
tranche.
understood that they were still negotiating. And the question is really, why? Why did it take them so long, and why are they so reluctant?
My understanding is that the situation at the border is very fluid and layered. They have been concerned about, again, the influx of the refugees, also the security at the border, but they're also working with the Israeli side. Both sides had concerns, and until both sides could reach an agreement on the mechanism, that border was not opening. There is now an agreement, and we're cautiously optimistic that we will soon be seeing that flow in both directions.
Thank you. I hope so. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.